In this session, we will learn about a particular type of numerical quadrature or numerical integration, which is called Gauss quadrature. It is also sometimes called Gauss-Legendre quadrature. And I'm sure you have come across numerical integration methods earlier also. And one of the very common ones is something called the trapezoidal rule. Okay, and the idea in trapezoidal rule is that for any function which is given, define it in several points and lines, and basically then compute the area under each trapezium, right, and add them up. And you may recall that such an integration of a function f of x can be written as 1 by 2 f of let's say node 1, if this is 1, 2, etc., plus f of x2 up to f of xn minus 1 plus 1 by 2 of f of xn, if this is xn. So effectively we are writing this as a summation, let's say wi times fxi, where xi are the coordinates of the nodes, or these are sometimes called abscissas, and wi's are the weights. So in this case, except for the first and the last wi, I going from 1 to n, all the other weights are 1. First and last weights are half. So this is a quick recap of something which you have already seen. You might have already seen other methods like Simpson's rule and Simpson's 1/3 rule, 3/8 rule, etc. So what we will learn is something called the Gauss quadrature, and the reason we are learning this one is because it is specifically designed to integrate from -1 to 1. And after we have formulated the reference element, all our integrations of the element level are going to be between -1 to 1, and hence we are using this method, which will be more efficient than any of. Now we want to integrate a function, let's say f of x, from -1 to 1, and using the idea that we had from trapezoidal method, we are approximating this as a summation I equals 1 to ngp, where ngp refers to the number of Gauss points used for quadrature. You can relate this to be equal to the number of points that were used here for the interval of trapezoidal method. So this is the number of abscissas. So the n here in trapezoidal rule and the ngp here in Gauss quadrature have similar connotations. wi is the weight. You can relate it to this weight here. And f evaluated at xi, where xi are the abscissas of quadrature. So again, you can relate it to the same xi that was there earlier. The only difference is that in case of trapezoidal rule, the xi's were something that you were able to choose, saying that it is divided into n intervals and the x coordinates were calculated from there. Except here, in case of Gauss-Legendre transformation, abscissas xi are the roots of the Legendre polynomial. Now, Legendre polynomial is a set of orthogonal polynomials, and it is defined in this manner. We will not dwell too much into how or why these are defined in this way. You can always learn more about Legendre polynomials elsewhere, or maybe you have already learnt about them in one of your maths courses where you learnt about orthogonal polynomials. So roots of these functions are what are the abscissas of the Gauss quadrature, and the weights wi's are defined like this, and these are also defined in terms of the Legendre polynomials. Now, one of the interesting features of this method is that when we are integrating a polynomial using Gauss quadrature, it will give exact integration results if if the number of Gauss points are chosen in this way, where this n is the degree of the polynomial being integrated, and NGP is the number of Gauss points we choose. So basically, if we choose NGP greater or equal to n plus 1 by 2, we are expected to get exact results when we are integrating polynomials. So basically what it means is, for n equal to 1, which is a linear polynomial, we want NGP greater than 1 plus 1 by 2, which is equal to 1. So even one Gauss point will give exact result for linear polynomials when they are being integrated from minus 1 to 1. So since these are such a common quadratures, the abscissas and weights are usually available as a table in almost all finite element textbooks. So if we want to use one Gauss point for integration, the abscissa is at 0 and weight is 1. Similarly, if we want to use two Gauss points, the abscissas are at plus minus 1 by root 3 and both the weights are 1. If we want to use three Gauss points, these are the three abscissas and there are the corresponding weights and so on. So in any finite element textbook, you will be able to get this table, and we will directly use this table for our purpose as well. And just to make you more comfortable with Gauss quadrature, let us do some quadrature examples. So let us say we have to integrate minus 1 to 1 x squared dx. Okay, so the exact integration will be 2 by 3. This you can work out. Now if you have to use one Gauss point, okay, remember that the abscissa is at 0 and the weight is 2. So the value comes out to be 0 and the error in this case is 100%. If we use two Gauss points, then the weights, both of them are 1. The abscissas are plus minus 1 by root 3. Okay, and this gives 2 by 3, which is exact. And again, if you recall that NGP being greater than n plus 1 by 2 will give exact results. In this case, we have n equal to 2. So for exact results, we want NGP to be greater than equal to 3 by 2, which is 1.5. So if we are using two Gauss points, we should get exact results, which is what we are getting. And similarly, you can check the three Gauss point case. We can look at one more example. Let's say e to the power of x, again integrated from minus 1 to 1. The exact integration is e minus 1 by e, which comes out to 2.34. Now one Gauss point case is 2 times e to the power 0, where the error comes out to be 14%, and two Gauss point case gives 2.34, which looks exact, but of course e being a transcendental function, I have truncated it at 2 decimal points, and hence it looks almost exact, but reality it is not. And but of course the accuracy is much better than 14% in this case. And you can also appreciate that e to the power of x is an infinite order or infinite degree polynomial, and hence no Gauss point quadrature can give exact results, but you can expect the error to go to 0 as the number of Gauss points goes to infinity. And you can also see that even two Gauss points is doing a fairly good job of doing this integration. Okay, so this is what I wanted to say here. So now we have covered all the aspects which are required for us to start programming the finite element method for one dimension. Okay, so now we will start looking at those.